Hi, Chris Hood, WB4ULK here. I figured I'd make this little video just to kind of walk you through setting up an Allstar node on a virtual server in the cloud. A lot of places, maybe you don't have a good connection or don't have a place to host your node for a hub node at least. So what I'm going to do today is show you how to set up your own Allstar node as a hub node in the cloud. I know in my particular situation, I have to use cellular access for my repeater site because I don't have hardline connection. I can't forward ports, things of that nature. So all of my repeaters at the repeater site are on a cellular connection, which are outbound only. So today I'm going to show you how I did it using Vultr and set up an Allstar node in the cloud, and it's able to take inbound connections for your repeaters. So the first thing we'll do here, if you haven't done it, you need to go to vultr.com, VULTR.com, and get signed up for their system and give it a try. I think they've got some kind of free promo that you can try it for a few days or something like that. But anyway, I'm going to show you how to spin a server up and get it going with Allstar. So the first thing you're going to need to do once you've established your account with them, go over to allstarlink.org, and you scroll down to here, and they've got a little bit newer version. Actually, it's fairly new. You want to get this version right here. It's called ASL. It's used on conventional computer systems. And go to the wiki page and go down here to the downloads. And what you want to do is we're going to use the i386 AMD 64 version. So what you want to do is you want to copy that link right there. Want to get a copy of that. Now we're going to go back over to our Vultr. Now we haven't spun a server up yet, but what we're going to do is we're going to go up here and we're going to deploy a new server. Okay, you want to pick the location of where you want your server at. I always do mine in Atlanta because it's close to me. That way I have less latency. We're going to go down here to the server type, and we want to upload an ISO. You're going to click on Upload ISO, and here is where you're going to paste that URL. Now, I'm not going to upload that URL again. It takes a while, and I've already done that. I already have it saved on my system, so I'm not going to upload that right now. So, but anyway, you would hit upload right there. It'll cross-load it over to it, and then you have it as an available operating system when you're building your server there. So we're going to go back, and we're going to pretend that, because see, you can see that one's already there for me, but we're going to pretend that we uploaded it. Now we're going to go down here. I'm running my server on the $5 a month plan. It's one CPU with a gig of RAM and a terabyte of bandwidth. Seems to work very well. I've heard people try it with 512 and they get mixed results. So anyway, I'm going to pick the $5 a month plan. I did not enable IPv6, especially with Allstar, because there's some question about that right now, so I didn't even worry about it. If you enable DDoS, that's a denial of service attack protection. I think it's an extra $10 a month. You can do auto backups. I didn't do any of that. I just make my own backups. So down here, you would put a server host name. You can name it anything you want. I'm just going to call it test server. So once you get down there, make sure you've only got one down here in the bottom. Make sure you only have one server picked, obviously. And we're going to hit deploy now. And let me redo that because I'm working on another project for a DMR bridge that needs me to install another instance of ASL. So I'm going to go ahead and call this one DMR bridge. Okay. Okay, now you can see down in the bottom right corner here, my secondary server's installing. The one that's called Hub is already up and running, and it's one that I use for all of my stuff on a daily basis. It's node 45221. We've got a pretty good group on there. Okay, so now we've got it up and running. It says the server is running. So what we want to do is click on the OS for that server. And it says it may still be booting up. So we're going to view console from here. Okay, so now we're at the install page. So we are looking at that server, and it is ready to install Allstar. So I'm just going to do the 32-bit install. Okay, now we're up and we're going to go through all the prompts. English, United States, American English. So I'm going to stop the video here. There's no point in this. You don't want to sit here for all of this. And I'll come back as we have a prompt each time. Okay, first prompt we're going to get is it's talking about setting up the partitions on the drives. I just leave that to default. And then it asks you, do you want to write the changes to the disk? Yes. And then it's going to go through a whole bunch more unpacking and getting things set up for you. Okay, after all the installation is done, it's going to reboot. So you can see here where it says your server is disconnected. So we're just going to go ahead and close that window, and we're back at our server information page. Now the first thing you need to do once you do that install, let's go back to our servers page, is think of this as a startup CD that's in the side of your computer with a startup image on it. Every time you reboot that server, it's going to come back to wanting to install the software. So over here on the right, let's go ahead and do a server restart. Restart the server. Server has been restarted. Now we go over here to our console. This is what I was talking about. That image is still in there. It's going to continue to want to install every time the server reboots. So we're going to close out of there. We're going to go back to here. We're going to go into that server. And it took me a long time to figure this one out. I heard people talking about settings and this and that, and I was looking over here in the settings. I was looking up here for the settings. Nope. Go click on the server itself. Go to settings. Go down here to custom ISO, and you want to remove that ISO. And it says it'll reboot the server after you remove it. Basically what you're doing is you're removing the CD from the CD tray. Of course, it's virtual. And that way the machine will boot up in its normal configuration. So let's reboot the server. Also, this gives you your outside IP address too, right here. That's your real world IP address facing out. Okay, we have rebooted the server. Now we're going to go over here and we're going to view the console. Now we are at our login. We're using Debian, but ASL is installed. Allstar server link. Allstar link ASL. On the initial install, the username will be repeater. And the password is Allstar link. All lowercase. All right, so right now it's wanting you to go ahead and change your password. And I put in the new password instead of giving it the old one, so let's do that again. Allstar link. Put in your current password, Allstar link. Now we'll put in our new password. Okay, so now we're logged in as username repeater. Here's another thing that took me a long time to figure out is where the menu is. This is fairly similar to Doug Crompton's build. If you've used it, you know what I'm talking about. He's got that nice menu option. Well, we're going to go use the menu option in this one. So we need to change directory. And we're going to change directory to user local sbin. And then once we get there, we'll type in sudo asl-menu. Put in the password. That's the one you set. Now we're at the main menu. So we're going to go through the first time setup. Okay, so we're going to run the first time menu. Would you like to set the root password? Let's go ahead and say yes. And if your computer's like mine, the prompt is hiding down here at the bottom. So go ahead and enter your password that you want it to be. Now it's going to move to the time zone setup. So I'm going to put America. I want it New York for the East Coast. Now this is your host name right here. You can make this anything you want it to be. Currently it's set at host name 144. Do you want to change this? I'm going to say yes. And I'm going to call it DMR Bridge. I am not putting mine in a domain. We're going to set up DHCP. I'm going to tell mine to use DHCP. And okay. And then there's nothing here to tell you, all right, let's keep going. You'll sit here and go through, keep doing this over and over again. And then I realized, hit the right arrow and come down here to back, because we're done with that. And then it'll say, yeah, it's going to download the configuration from Allstar. It doesn't really matter, because we're going to set all that up ourselves. So now we're going to set up our initial node, password, call sign. Current node is 1999. I'm going to make mine 47484. That's the hub I'm testing, the node that I'm testing with right now for my DMR bridge. Go put in the password. Now this password here is when you go to Allstar link and log in, and you can scroll down to your node configuration, go to the server that it's on, scroll down to the node and click the node that you're using. If you're doing this, you should have already signed up for a node. If you have not, you need to do that before you do this. You're not going to get anywhere, because you've got to have an account with Allstar. Anyway, right here where it says node password, of course I'll have this blurred out, but that's the password for my node. So I'm going to go back in and put that password in. And I have a terrible memory, so I'm going to have to go back and forth 3 or 4 times. I'll probably just cut this out. Let's see. Okay, once you've done that, arrow down and click OK. All right. Now we go in and set our call sign. WB4ULK. Arrow down, hit OK. Going to go down to our radio interface. We're not going to have a radio, so we're going to go down here to hub node. Okay. If you want to run Allmon. Go in here, and you're going to set your password for this. That's going to be same thing that logs into Asterisk Manager for your Allmon page. So I'll go ahead and set that there. It says it's creating it. Now we want to save this configuration. You're going to keep telling it okay on everything. Okay, now we're done. So we're going to arrow over and go to back. If you want to go ahead and set up your Echo Link, you can do that here now. You can turn on save mode. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't know what that means. That may be where it writes back to Allstar, or it could be a backup. I'm not sure. Don't really care. It works. So now we'll go down here to save configuration and make it live. And it says, if you read at the top, those are the changes you made. Say OK. Yep, go ahead and back it up. Tells you where it saved them to. Okay. So now I'm going to arrow down and exit. Okay. So yes, we did indeed save it. Are you sure you want to exit? Yes. All right, now right here's a good one too. Would you like to start the ASL menu script at login by default for user repeater? Go ahead and tell that yes. That way when you log in, if you use the repeater username, which is what you want to do unless you're really doing something, that you need to be logged in as root, it'll bring the menu up every time and you don't have to go through and find it. So I always turn that one on, and if you want to log in as root and just come right into the command prompt, you will. So we're going to tell that yes. Setup is complete. Now we'll reboot. Okay, so this is what it looks like when it boots up. And you can see where it looked for the DVD. There, of course, there wasn't one there, so then it goes to the hard drive. Okay, so now we're going to log in. So let's log in as a repeater. Now it's asking for the sudo password for repeater, which is the root password. In case you have to do a sudo command, which is be administrator for a minute and then go back to a normal user. Okay, so we've done the first time setup. All right, so we don't need to worry about radio tune or simple USB because we're not doing that. If you want to enter the client mode, click there. There's a client mode. And that would show you all your connections and things like that. I'm going to exit out of that. If you go down here to ASL configuration edit menu, this is where you can do, without having to go into command prompt and do a nano on each one, you can go in here and, like right here, you could edit your RPT conf. So right here you have access to all of that. So you can go in here and look at your link time, telemetry. I mean, everything about your node right here, of course. I mean, obviously, if you're doing this, you have probably set a node up before. So we're going to get out of here. So that's all your main, your IAX, your modules, your manager. If you have the voter card, you can do that if you're doing voting, but I don't think that would be, I don't think you'd be using that on a virtual node. Anyway, let's go back. Operating system menu. That's where you can do your updates, add-ons. It's all kind of goodies in there. It's fairly similar to Crompton's build in the fact that it does have menus, but they're all a little different. So, you can just dig through it and find your way through. But anyway, we have a live and operating node now. So, and when you exit, like mine, it always throws it down at the bottom. You're back at the login prompt here. So let us do a test on it real quick. All right, so we're going to log in as repeater. Just going to ask you if I typed it in right. It's going to ask you for the sudo password. Okay, so now we're in there. Let's go into our client. Okay, so I'm going to make a connection to the 2000 node. RPT function 47484. And we're going to do a *3 2000. And you'll see it come up. It says call accepted. It's using Golf 72. And now it's playing the audio. Repeater node 2000 connection failed. It's because I haven't been in the database long enough to have shown up. But the node is up and running. And right now you could dial into it with your phone, which that's what I'll do here real quick and let you hear the node, and then we can see it on the screen here.
Welcome to the Allstar Network telephone portal. Please enter the number of the node that you wish to connect to. Press 1 for node access and 2 for reverse auto patch. Please enter your Allstar user portal secure PIN number. Press 1 for voice operated access and 2 for please wait a moment while you're being connected.
Okay, so we're logging in.
Node
There it is.
47484. Node WB4ULK.
And you can see it going across the screen there.
To node 47484.
So that's it. I'm going to disconnect, and when I disconnect, you'll see it disappear on the screen there. And now it's saying WB4ULK-P disconnected. What I would do is go into my configuration file. I set mine to duplex 0, point-to-point yes, and turn off all the courtesy tones and everything, and it's just completely transparent. It's not a radio. It doesn't need ID, and it doesn't need to beep or boop. So anyway, that's the basic setup for it. You've got it running, and then the rest is up to you how you want to configure it or play with it or do different things. So anyway, I hope that helps someone. It took me a good bit to get my way through that. I do have all mine running on mine. I have no clue how I did it because I had a good friend of mine help me with it because I had to unload a lot of packages and do a bunch of things on it to get it running. It's a little different than the instructions that I've found on the internet. But hopefully someone can dig and find that, maybe make a video on that for putting all mine on ASL. So anyway, until next time, 73 WB4ULK.